I want to start off this review by talking about some really exciting news for NXT coming up in the month of May, and that is that we're going to be getting another 2-hour live special show on the WWE Network on May the 29th called NXT Takeover. It's going to have that feeling of a pay-per-view like NXT Arrival did. And what can I say other than I cannot wait for this show? It's going to take a lot to top NXT Arrival, which was a damn good show in February, in my opinion. I wonder what matches they're going to get on here, and I wonder how big these matches are going to feel. But I, for one, cannot wait to watch and review the show on May the 29th. Put that in your diary. NXT TakeOver, May the motherfucking 29th. And if nothing else, I'm very interested to see the direction NXT go in with regards to their feuds and storylines and what matches they're going to be putting on this show, especially after the announcement of an NXT Women's Championship tournament on this show, which I will move on to talking about next. But I am fucking well hyped for this show, guys, and you should be too if you follow NXT. So we start off this week's edition of NXT with a backstage segment with JBL stripping Paige of the NXT Women's Championship. After some duration, Paige reluctantly giving up that belt she worked so hard for. Obviously, reason cited here was now that she's kind of moved up in the world. She's now the Divas champion on Raw and SmackDown. You know, she's done everything she can really do in NXT, and now it's time to give another NXT Diva a chance to shine. You know, the way they did this, it didn't really feel like a sad moment because obviously Paige has moved up in the world now, and it's, you know, it isn't going to make her look bad to do a job for someone on her way out. And, you know, it's actually better, in my opinion, that they do it this way. You know, they're going to be doing a tournament to decide the new women's champion. Obviously, I imagine the finals will be done at NXT TakeOver on May the 29th. And I think it's just better all round that they do it this way. The tournament will make the diva in question, which I believe is going to be Charlotte, look a lot better and look like a dominant women's champion. And, you know, Paige isn't doing a job for anyone, and she's moved up in the world now, so she's not going to be on NXT much more. So I think the way they've done how they're going to do this is probably best for business. So Alexander Rusev squashed another jobber on this week's edition of NXT, much like he's doing on Raw and SmackDown right now. And I really don't have too much to say about this that I've already said on SmackDown reviews. So I'll shift to some more important things at hand. And that is, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being incredibly unsexy and 10 being out of this world Megan Fox sexy, how would you guys rate Lana? I'll be interested to hear your numbers in the comment section below. Nemanja. Man, Adam Rose's backstage interview was fucking hilarious, saying that Camacho was boring and that he was a party pooper. Yeah, I thought that was just hilarious. And, you know, the whole entourage going on behind him just added to the hilarity, in my opinion. What a great addition this gimmick is going to be to the WWE roster, even if all it is video packages of him in his fucking Adam Rose Express. So last week we had Charlotte and Sasha Banks, the BFFs, issuing a challenge to Emma to get a partner of her choosing and face them in the ring on this week's edition of NXT. So at least if nothing else, NXT did a good job in hyping up their Divas segment a week ahead of time, something I wish they would have done with the main event on this show, but more on that later. So the hype for this was okay. I thought the presentation of this was a little bit in the sense that they didn't show the surprise partner, which turned out to be Paige on TV. We just come back from a WWE Network commercial, and there Paige was in the ring. So the whole surprise factor there was kind of gone and really had little effect because they didn't show it. They didn't show Paige entering the ring, you know. And also, I was quite surprised here that Charlotte actually pinned the Divas champion Paige. And I must admit, after seeing this, I wonder if she's the favourite to win this tournament that's going to crown a new women's champion, which hopefully will climax and hopefully be the ultimate final match at NXT TakeOver. When I saw Tyson Kidd versus Mason Ryan, the first thought in my mind was, man, this is a weird matchup. I'm kind of surprised when these two got matched up in the ring. I'm like, you've got two baby faces here facing off in the ring, just a tad weird. And, you know, the match itself was done to make Tyson Kidd look strong, but you know, it was a really weak move, in my opinion, that put down Mason Ryan for 1, 2, 3. I mean, this is Mason fucking Ryan. You know, he's close to 300 pounds, and the move that Tyson Kidd did to put him down for the 1, 2, 3 just didn't look like the kind of move that would put down a Mason Ryan. It just really didn't. So it kind of made this finish feel a little bit unbelievable. The Mason Ryan experiment has probably failed. You know, I don't really see where else they can really go with Mason Ryan right now. I really don't. But I thought it was nice, though, that after the match they gave some You know, they gave some mic time to Tyson Kidd, who has just returned to NXT, and he put over NXT big, in my opinion, by saying that NXT for him was the place to be for the ultimate opportunity. And I guess I've really got to say this. Would you rather be a big star on NXT helping out the young talent and creating the next generation of stars, or rather be a jobber on Raw and SmackDown? This is why I think this place on NXT is a perfect role for a Tyson Kidd. You know, he's got a little bit of name recognition, especially now he's on Total Divas. So why not have him linger around in NXT, you know, help the young talent out, you know, maybe have some programs with some heels on there or something, you know, do something with the NXT talent that can get them ready for TV and pass on the experience that he's had. Kind of like a trainer in essence. I think that would be a good role for Tyson Kidd. Whether or not that's the role NXT have for him, I don't know. I'm just saying that I think this would be a good role. Hopefully he'll have some kind of storyline going into NXT Takeover. If not, some kind of showcase match. You know, the King of the Night, Kenny King, really does get around a little bit. I mean, he's fighting Bobby Lashley on TNA Impact Wrestling. And he's also facing Tyler Breeze on NXT. Well, it kind of looked like Kenny King. It was actually Angelo Dawkins. I'm only joking. Tyler Breeze gets the win here. But I do want to say, I would like to see a little bit more of this Angelo Dawkins and a little bit more of a showcase of him, please, because he did look like the kind of character that I could really get behind and really dig on NXT with the glasses and the dancing, and the guy seemed to ooze charisma. I want to see a little bit more of Angelo Dawkins, please. So apparently Brodus Clay was so angry after last week's main event, he assaulted Adrian Neville backstage and beat him up. Not that you would really know about it properly, because it didn't really seem like that big of a deal at all. The video package didn't really go on for very long, and the commentators didn't really big it up as a big deal, in my opinion. You know, it helps NXT if you do these kind of things in the fucking ring to get a guy heat. It's almost like they don't want to give Brodus Clay any damn heat on NXT, because the one time he actually does, you know, get the upper hand on Adrian Neville, he's backstage in a segment which they really don't seem to big up at all. You know, once again I ask, if you can't put heat on Brodus Clay, who the fuck can you put heat on? It's so easy to do. He's 400 pounds. He can beat a guy up legit. He was an ex-bodyguard for fucking Snoop Dogg. For God's sake, get some proper heat on this guy in the damn ring, not in backstage segments which are just going to fly by people's memories. I must admit, when I saw what was going to be main eventing NXT through the NXT Facebook and Twitter, I was even more pumped to watch NXT than I usually would be, and that's quite saying something. It involved the Ascension and Corey Graves facing off with Sami Zayn and the WWE Tag Team Champions, the Usos, in 6-man tag action. And considering some of the name power in there, you know, especially the WWE Tag Team Champions, the Usos, as well as strong NXT characters such as the Ascension and Sami Zayn, who you think they want to hype a little bit more out of than your average NXT superstar, I really would have thought they would have hyped this main event up a little bit more. You know, have a couple more interviews, maybe a video package, pre-announce it a week in advance. You know, it's a shame they didn't do that, because this main event really justified it, in my opinion. I must admit, though, I also love it when they bring in, you know, main roster talent to work with NXT talent. Not only do the NXT talent, you know, learn a little bit from them, the matches are usually pretty good, you know, and it gets a couple more eyes on the NXT product on the WWE Network. And for 1 week, it made the Ascension interesting, and so I can actually talk about them. But I really want to talk about this match as a whole and where this match could essentially maybe lead going into NXT Takeover. Now, this is a really fun match, in my opinion. I was glued to this match throughout. I thought this was just a really fun way to end the show, a really fun main event, which the Usos and Sami Zayn, you know, got the win on. I really would have enjoyed seeing a little bit more dancing from Sami Zayn, you know, but we got to see a little bit of it, and then they kind of ended the show prematurely. But that would have been a nice, cool segment to finish the show. The Usos and Sami Zayn dancing in the middle of the ring. You know, fun main event. I'm not going to complain about it. But hopefully, this is a signal of what we're going to be getting at NXT TakeOver. I really think, with regarding the Ascensions, who haven't really had too many legit opponents, a really good showcase match for them at NXT TakeOver would be against the Usos. You know, WWE Tag Team Champions versus NXT Tag Team Champions. It doesn't have to be a title match. It can just be a showcase match for the Ascension. That would be a good match for NXT Takeover's 2-hour special, in my opinion. Also, I imagine NXT Takeover will be the show that they finally, you know, blow off this Sami Zayn and Corey Graves feud, which they continued on during this segment quite well by, you know, keeping them away from each other quite a lot. So hopefully, there's two of the matches they have that they're going to be showcasing on NXT Takeover. I can't wait for both of them. So I thought this week's edition of NXT was a pretty decent show, actually quite a fun show, you know, mainly due to the main event and seeing a couple of characters on there which I do enjoy, you know, Adam Rose, a bit of Angelo Dawkins. I want to see a little bit more of that guy. You know, also it set the hype machine up for this NXT Takeover special they're going to be doing on the WWE Network, you know, on May the 29th, that 2-hour special. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing what NXT are going to give us in terms of feuds, storylines, and big matches going into that show on May the 29th. Put it in your diary. Hopefully, it'll be, you know, somewhere close to NXT Arrival, which was a damn good show, and hopefully it'll be a really good showcase for a lot of these, you know, NXT talents, such as, you know, Adrian Neville, Sami Zayn, the Ascension, you know, maybe putting a Mojo Rawley in there, or maybe even putting a Tyler Breeze in there, or an Adam Rose in there, or something. That's what I'm hoping this show will do. An NXT Championship match, the finals of the women's tournaments, hopefully the Ascension versus the Usos, and Sami Zayn versus Corey Graves, and a couple of matches squeezed in there. Hopefully that is what they're going to be going to on this show, and it should be a damn good one. Make sure you tune in next week for another NXT review as I review the road to NXT TakeOver, I guess we will call it. Have any comments on NXT or this show, put them in the comment section below, and I'll see you tomorrow for the SmackDown review, but same time, same thing next week for NXT. Thank you very much for watching this review if you have, and goodbye.